It's a time of year again. It's time for the top albums of 2015. Hello everyone, and welcome to my top 25 albums of the year 2015. And boy, what a year it's been. There's been music has been happening all through this year. There's been so much good music, and it's all been in this year 2015, which is what this list is about. These are my top 25 albums of 2015. Now there's a few great releases that I've not actually listened to this year, so sadly, obviously, I've not listened to them. I can't include them in the list, but here's just a little rundown of the kind of things that I've not listened to this year, but I intend to in the next year. Arnold Mackenzie and the Bog Snatchers. Really a bit of trance, disco, anal, vaginal penetration for the masses, you know what I mean? There's Santa Claus and the Whodunit Burglars. You know, it's nice to have some like kind of contemporary disco, and I am looking forward to listening to that next year. There's Stephen King and the Wet Sausage Smugglers with their new album Grandson, What's the Point? From what I hear, it's like kind of trance, disco, with a bit of post-rock in there, you know, with the drums in particular. I hear they don't even have any drums, so you know, it's really post-rock. Boris Yeltsin and the Vaginal Cries. Really cool kind of, you know, like beat poetry, but without any words whatsoever, so it's just literally fuck all. And the new Miley Cyrus record, which I've not actually listened to, so, you know, there's those ones I've not given an actual listen yet, but I intend to. But doesn't matter, this isn't about what I've not listened to, this is about what I have listened to. So here is a rundown of my top 25 albums of the year. 25. At number 25, we've got Slaves with their new album, Are You Satisfied? It's really, you know, kind of like, and like, you know, they're like, and they do this, like, there's only two of them, but you know, it doesn't matter because they both play instruments and that, and you know, it's like, it's good. Yeah, I like it. 25. Slaves. Are You Satisfied? 24. Number 24, got the new Earl Sweatshirt album, I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside. You know, it's really kind of like, oh yeah, and you know, his name is on the cover of the album, so you know that when you buy it, it's his. He wrote it, and he does the raps on it, and you know, he raps a lot, you know, on all of the songs. So, you know, credit where credit's due, he did that. There's this one particular song where he's like, yeah, and he says some things, and you know, it's like really good, and like there's music in the background and everything, and you know, I just thought, you know, top man, you know, he's doing his bit. And 24, Earl Sweatshirt, I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside. 23. Number 23, Car Seat Headrest with their new album, Teens of Style. This is actually like his first physical release after being like kind of releasing stuff on Bandcamp, and like he's kind of like, I'm eating, and like he does like all these songs that we know and love, and like he's like kind of re-recorded them and packaged them up a bit and put them into like, it's like a best of almost, a best of, and it's really good. You know, there's like music and like guitar, drums, and he sings on it, you know, and 22. At number 22, Tobias Jesso Jr. with his album Goon. Really kind of good, kind of like singer-songwriter album, you know, without being shit. And what I like is that he kind of sings, he songs, and he writes, you know, so you got the main three ingredients there for a singer-songwriter, so I thought that was pretty unique. What I particularly like as well is like his lyrics are quite heartfelt, because he wrote them on a bit of paper before singing them, just so he wouldn't forget them. So, you know, credit where credit's due. Really cool kind of floppy hair, and he sits down when he plays the piano, so you know. Tobias Jesso Jr., Goon. number 22. Sorry, I forgot. I'm getting a bit bored already. 21. Number 21 is Panda Bear with Panda Bear Meets the Grim Reaper. Now you might know Panda Bear like from like being in the zoo, but this isn't actually an actual panda bear. It's like someone who was whose parents called him Panda Bear, and you know it's so I'd imagine a lot of the album. I've not really listened to it properly. I'd imagine a lot of the album is him kind of saying, "Why did my parents call me that?" You know, I mean, I listened. There's music on it, you know, the album, which you kind of want, but there's music, and you can dance to it if you've kind of got legs. You could boogie with it if you haven't got legs, to be fair. That's maybe a bit offensive of me to say, you know, I can't say what people without legs can't do. I mean, you know, it's a free country, it's a free planet, you know, you don't have to be English to not have legs. You know, so, you know, do your bit, kind of dance if you want to. Panda Bear with Panda Bear Meets the Grim Reaper. 20. Breaking into the top 20 with Thundercat now with the Beyond / Where the Giants Roam. Yeah, it's a mini album for Thundercat after 2 other albums of his, which I'm also a big fan of. You know, it's kind of he plays the bass. Has a bass on and basically he's pretty good with it. You know, you can tell he's been playing for a few months at least, and it's kind of like, except, you know, kind of it actually sounds good, but you know, he's kind of growing as an artist, I guess you could say, both musically and, you know, he's kind of aging as well. He's getting older, so you know, he's kind of, you can't really stop that. 19, and number 19 we have got My Love Is Cool by the band Wolf Alice. I'll be honest, I was a bit upset when I first listened to it because I assumed it was a crossover, like a kind of collaboration album between Wolf from Gladiators and Alice in Chains, but it wasn't. But after a few listens I really kind of got into it, and I think they're a very good kind of young up and coming band with a lot of swagger, a lot of pizzazz, a lot of jazz, you know what I mean. They kind of got that going for them, and you know, there's a few, give me a sec, just getting the record. That's it there, it's like a big CD. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 songs, you know, so it's like more than 10. 18. Number 18, I've got the album A&D, or And, by the Japanese math rock, I don't know what you call them really, quite strange kind of rock music band, Trico. That's Tricot. I had the good fortune of seeing them live a year ago when they were in support of the Pixies at the Eden Project, and I was fucking blown away by them. They're really good, you know, they kind of do all their music in Japanese, they sing in Japanese, they play their guitar in Japanese, they play their drums in Japanese, and you know, they're Japanese, and I really enjoyed it. I'm thinking Hollywood are gonna have nothing to do with them because they don't make films. 17. Number 17 is the album Painted Shut by the band Hop Along. Now, when they say hop along, I hopped right along, and I'm telling you now, I was not disappointed. So yeah, they are a band, and they kind of have music, and it's really good. The kind of like the singer's got this kind of quite soft spoken voice, and then they kind of like have this good dynamic of going like, and then like, and you know, they kind of really know how to play their crowd, and they're just really good. It's a good album, you know, solid album. It's not made of liquid. You can put it in your CD player or your cassette player. You can eat it if you don't eat it, but you know, you probably die. If I could say one thing about this album, I would say that if you ate it, you'd die. 16. Number 16 now, we have The Race for Space by Public Service Broadcasting. You know, what I like about them is that they kind of take old sounding footage, like kind of public service broadcasts, as the name would suggest, but with this most recent album they've taken like footage from like the news. It's kind of like a loose concept album about the space race back in the swinging 60s, which, you know, is good, but it's kind of like copyright theft. So I don't know if anyone's pulled them up on it yet, but you know, they didn't. They stole those voices. But you know, I mean, it's like good. It's kind of like music that goes along with the voices, and the voices aren't singing because they recorded them about 50 years ago. But you know, considering that they're quite old, you know, it seems to work quite well, and I would give it a good review if I could write. 15. Breaking into the top 15 now with Kamasi Washington's debut album, The Epic, which, if you look earlier on my channel, I did a very in-depth analysis of the album, but, you know, for the uninitiated, I'll go over it again. It's a really massive fucking jazz album, and it's really big. I couldn't fit it through the front door when I bought it, but, you know, it's really nice. There's a lot of kind of jazz on it because it's a jazz album, and, you know, he plays the saxophone, and like there's this one moment, right, where he's it's the kind of album you could take your kids to see. Go to see it. 14. Number 14 now, the band Bully with their album, which is incompletely titled. It's just called Feels Like. They don't finish the sentence, they just kind of end it there. Not even a full stop. But that goes with the pace of the album because it's very fast paced, so maybe they didn't have time to write a title. Maybe that's what they were going for. They were like, you know, we're so fast and young, we don't even need to finish the album title. It's like, yeah, 2 words, feels like what? Mate, just fucking going, mate, you know. I like it. I like it. 13. Number 13, we've got another one. I mean, that is literally another one, but that's the name of the album as well. Another one by Mac DeMarco. It's like a mini album, but it's really good. Good bang for your buck. It's kind of like a slower paced, kind of almost romantic sounding album, which is nice. You know, he plays guitar and he wears a hat. You know, what more could you want from someone who sings for a living? I'm asking you a question. 12. Number 12, Prepare to Get Noided, The Powers That Be by Death Grips. They're a very kind of tranquil, kind of peaceful sounding band that, you know, they're really perfect kind of accompaniment to having a brunch on the front lawn. You know, if your wife kind of throws out the window and says, I don't want you here anymore, go away! And you eat your brunch off the front lawn, in front of the neighbours. Everyone's watching. Barry next door. They're all mocking. They pretend they're not looking, but they know. You know, they know. 11. Number 11 is from the band or musician 2814 with the album. I can't pronounce it. I think the English translation is Birth of a New Day, if the internet is to be believed. I discovered this on Bandcamp. Very good album, very peaceful, very tranquil sounding album. Very cool soundscapes, very cool music. There's songs on here. And, you know, the band or group or artist name is Numbers. I mean, that's good. 10. Breaking into the top 10 now with No Cities to Love by Sleater-Kinney. Very cool kind of rock, punk, alternative rock guitar with girls and punk rock, and you know, there's a fucking music, and there's like, bury our friends, and you know, that's some of the words that are in it. And you know, they got lots of words, you know, they use words quite a lot on the album, particularly when they're singing. And you know, they use words with music. Like, I never would have thought to do that. I didn't think I'd hear that in 2015, but I did. Because of them. Sleater-Kinney. No Cities to Love. 9. Number 9, we've got In Colour by Jamie XX. I like that he went for a very ironic title, you know, In Colour. It's funny because music, you know, it's not in colour, it's see-through. 8! Number 8 is Courtney Barnett's debut album, Sometimes I Sit and Think. And sometimes I just sit. This is a really great album, you know. She's from, well, this is her debut album, she's from Australia. But, you know, don't let that put you off, it's really good. What I like about it is kind of like her guitar playing, her guitar wearing, because she actually wears the guitar like around her when she plays it, like the strap, I think they're called straps, like there, and it goes around the back, and so she stands up when she plays so that she can kind of breathe into the microphone. But it's a really strong debut, and it's got great melodies, very catchy songs. Lyrically it's really strong. She tells a story with her music, much like stories don't tell songs. Courtney Barnett, sometimes I think and sit and think, and sometimes I'm from Australia. 7. Number 7 is Hatbark Beach by Knife Pleats. I happened upon these swinging cats when perusing the interwebs. They got guitars, they got drums, they got bass, they got voices. The singer uses a voice, which is hers. It belongs to her, right? And she uses it on the record, not free of charge. I mean, you can torrent it. In fact, that's the point. You can torrent all of these albums, get them for free. They won't know what's hit them. 6. Number 6, we've got Depression Cherry by Beach House. It's not beach, it's not house, it's not depression, and it's not cherry, but it makes a mean guacamole, and I would give it a 4 out of 9 for the lyrics alone, you know, and I mean, like, 4 is my favourite number. Depression Cherry, Beach House. 5. Into the top 5 now with Art Angels by Grimes. I'd say it's good, and you've got no reason to not believe me. You've watched this far. Grimes, Art Angels, coming soon. It's out now. 4. Number 4, we have Sufjan Stevens with his album Carrie Lowell. It's kind of a concept album about his mum and his stepdad, but unlike Parents, this album won't be a misery for you. You'll love it. What I really loved about it was that he sang on the record, he played guitar on the record, he recorded the record, he was present in the studio when he used his voice and his fingers for the guitar, which, you know, in today's music of, you know, McDonald's beats and dog sniffing glue every evening, you know, I thought, I don't know what I'm talking about, really. It's late. 3. Number 3 is Father John Misty with I Love You, Honey Bear. and you get the feeling, you know, that it's an album in every sense of the word, like from the letter A to the letter M, and the ones in between. You know what I mean? Of course you do. And it's really good, you know. I think it would be enjoyed by anyone who is a human being and likes music. Specifically Father John Misty. If you're a human that likes Father John Misty, then you have no reason not to like Father John Misty's albums. I think, personally. It might be an unpopular opinion, but my list. 2. Down to the top 2 now. Now, I've been kind of thinking for ages, right, which one of these two, because they're my 2 favourites of the year, by far, and they've kind of been overlapping who's going to be number 1 for months now. In the end, I had to go with my heart, and so number 2, very, very closely, missing the mark slightly, Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly. Now, the album's criminally underrated. I don't know anyone who's had a good thing to say about this album at all, but you know, I think it's worth a listen, because there's a couple of good tracks on there that I think might be worth kind of going back to. Don't listen to what Pitchfork say, you know. Give it a listen and enjoy it, because it's not as bad as the critics might think. You know, musically it's on point. He's got a great list of collaborators, including DJ Jazzy Jeff, Vanilla Ice, Chaz and Dave, and it's all about what it's like to be a Hasidic Jew in 1980s America, which, you know, is something that he knows firsthand. I'd give it 49 stars out of 10, you know, because it's good and there's more to it than being good. So, you know, 39 extra bits of good in there. You know, he's a rapper man, Kendrick. He spits flows, and he flows some spit, you know, into some really interesting verses. Lyrically, it's fantastic. As I've already said, the music, he's got some good collaborators, and it's really kind of like merged it into this kind of hip-hop, soul, funk, jazz. He's taken all these different influences and mixing it in a big pot of music, and he made a very big music from this pot, I'll tell you, and there's enough to go around for at least 25 dinner guests. Well, number 1 goes to none other than Jeff Rosenstock with his album We Cool. I really like the album, and that's my list. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I didn't. Please tell me what you thought in the comments section. Perhaps you have lists yourself that you'd like to share with me. I won't look at them or take any interest, but by all means you can post them. And that's about it. Have a happy new year, and bye.